Trust. What is the matter? Time is motion of the mind. Trust. What is the matter? The investment where my peace comes from. Trust. An emotion wolf. Trust. A practice. Surrendering, tending, connecting in the now. Purity, poetry. Purity, experience. Purity, wisdom. I am invested. Oh my, peace. In the valley of time, I tune into spirit as I calibrate. Time is motion of the mind. In the not knowing lies my certainty of trust. Covered, embraced, surrounded by intuitive practices. Intention, attention, results in presence. With deep attention, in readiness, my instinct, everything matters, yet nothing really matters. What is the matter? The real substance. What is the matter made of? The mother, the origin. Is trust the origin and the source? Not knowing is the experience, for abundance defines form. Once upon a time, dear reader, when I'm staring at the white screen, I'd sometimes have a phrase or a memory that arises, an emotion, and I feel like sitting down in front of you and allowing words to take shape. Warning. Whatever, or rather, whenever I write about the past as I perceived it, it all may be distorted, amplified, colored, abstracted, beautified, or at times perhaps imaginary. The truth is in the intention behind the words and not behind the facts. If I ask my siblings or old friends, they will most likely describe a different experience. My emotional body is so charged, I remember, caution alert, that I begged Sat, my Taoist Sifu, to show me the way to eliminate my emotions rather than control them. In hysterical laughter only a Chinese sage can emit, he said, "Are you out of your mind? Instead, I will show you the difference between responding and reacting." And so he did. To that little bit of light, allowing the darkness in the tunnel of chaos to imagine the possibility of one day, if anything, I could embrace my emotional body as a gift. And here I am now, energy in motion. Following practices known as Buddhist psychology and combined with the full Taoist Cosmology experience that includes Qigong, Taiji juan, also known as shadowboxing, TCM or traditional Chinese medicine, Feng Shui, the I Ching, Acupuncture, the whole shebang, I enter a decade of cultivating my mind and nourishing my spirit, totally devoted to the training back in 2004. The first image I knew that the Tao was literally my way, came from a box and 4 legs. The magic that was contained and transmitted via airwaves, and that somehow both educated and conditioned generations to either dream or numb themselves. Watching Kung Fu TV series reminded me of one thing I had clear. I needed to find my wise sage who spoke in riddles, to reconnect to an ancient culture that felt so familiar in my bones. 30 years later, I did, in New York City, where I stayed 27 years, and I found, defined, and trained my spiritual and artistic practices. In Buddhism, emotions stem from the duality of liking and disliking, clinging or rejecting. Physiological arousal can drive our minds to believe that what we perceive is true. Taoist cosmology places and show the organic sequence of the Wuji, nothing becoming Taiji, that emanates the feminine and the masculine, then spreads it into the 5 elements that also contain wisdom of the seasons, the organs in the body, and the 5 emotions: sadness, fear, anger, joy, anxiety. I release the pain by creating a grounded action. I surrender to the beauty and the grace of spirit, being one with the human experience. I surrender to a grounded, joyful body willing to integrate and elevate all duality. I release the shame and pain I have witnessed and I have inflicted thus far. I am free. Amen. A cyclic interplay of polar energies. In this phrase can be found the key to an interpretation of human experience which does not produce irreconcilable dualities and the ever present possibility of schizophrenia and nationalistic or class wars. Life is a cyclic interplay of polar energies. Every factor in experience is always present, but it manifests in an ever varying degree of intensity. The waning of the energy of one pole within the whole of experience is always associated with the waxing in strength of the other pole. Two forces are always active. Every conceivable mode of activity is always active within any organic whole. But some modes dominate, while others are so little active as to seem altogether inexistent. Yet, non existence is a fiction. From our point of view, it should be called instead latency. No characteristic trait in the whole universe is ever totally absent from the experience of any whole. It is only latent, and latency is still, in a sense, activity of a sort. It is a negative, introverted kind of activity. Every human experience is bipolar. To know the general meaning of a cycle is to know the nature of the two basic forces which are at play throughout its course. The zodiac is a dynamic process, then Rudyard. Fear is the only darkness. Okay, my friends. Lately, I am more introverted. We have so many planets going retrograde. So this is still an incredible moment. We're pausing, doing some practices that reconnect you to your intuition are of essence. And which could these practices be? Well, you can meditate, you can be silent, you can do Qigong, you can ground yourself in so many ways. You can chant, you can hum, you can just listen to the most beautiful music that reconnects you to your spirit. You can just go for a walk. You can just be present. That's the most beautiful way to reconnect to your own intuition, to your own instinctual body. So you can then embrace and trust. Have a good week.